The Deltan warships reeled in shock as the vast black form of the USS Blackstar, Earth's secret weapon, emerged from behind Earth's moon, energy crackling along its mighty hull. This single human warship dwarfed the mightiest Deltan dreadnoughts. For centuries, the Galactic Deltan Empire had conquered and enslaved countless worlds across the galaxy under its brutal regime. Earth had long managed to stay neutral and isolationist, not getting involved in galactic affairs and keeping its advanced technology hidden. But now, in the year 2245, the Deltans were right on humanity's doorstep, warships flooding into the solar system, making demands and threats. Earth's leaders knew they could no longer stay silent. Aaron Walker stood on the Blackstar's bridge, hands clasped behind his back, watching the view screen intently as the sleek ships of the Deltan Battle Squadron moved to intercept. A brilliant scientist and the lead engineer who had worked in secret for years to build this technological marvel, he had been the natural choice to command the vessel on its maiden voyage. His bridge crew, the best officers Earth had to offer, manned their stations around him, the tension and anticipation palpable. They all knew the stakes. This first battle would likely decide the fate of their homeworld. The Deltan ships opened fire, streaks of orange plasma cutting through space towards the Blackstar, but the weapons splashed and dissipated harmlessly against the Earth ship's advanced shielding. Aaron calmly gave the order to return fire. The Blackstar's forward quantum cannons flared brilliantly as they discharged, lancing out with blinding white beams that sliced clean through the Deltan ships from stem to stern. In seconds, the attacking vessels were nothing more than expanding clouds of debris and glowing embers. Light years away, on the Deltan throne world, Emperor Xanth stared at the live video feed of the brief battle in utter disbelief, his features twisting into a mask of rage. He smashed a fist down on the arm of his throne, the sharp crack echoing through the cavernous hall. The human ship had just swatted his battle squadron from the sky like gnats. How could the Earthers have developed technology so far in advance of his empires without him knowing? He jabbed a finger at his generals, spittle flying as he shouted for them to crush this impudent upstart race and seize their secrets at any cost. He would not let some backwater species threaten Deltan supremacy. Aboard the Blackstar, Aaron let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding as the bridge crew erupted into cheers and clapped each other on the back. They had won this battle decisively, and proven humanity would not be cowed. But he knew this was only the beginning. The Deltan war machine would now be focused on Earth. To secure their homeworld's freedom and survival, they would have to take the fight to the Empire. No easy task, but if they failed, it would mean the enslavement or extinction of the human race. He began to plan his next move. As the rush of victory from the decisive strikes against the Deltan fleet and shipyards faded, Aaron walked the corridors of the Blackstar deep in thought. The weight of command pressed on his shoulders as he wrestled with the enormity of the decisions before him. He stopped at a viewport, staring out at the stars streaking by as the ship hurtled through null space towards the rendezvous coordinates. "Credit for your thoughts, Captain?" Aaron turned to see his first officer, Commander Olivia Prescott, approaching. He shook his head. "Just thinking about the implications of allying with this Deltan resistance. It could be seen as overstepping our bounds." Prescott nodded, coming to stand beside him. "True, but the Deltans already see us as their mortal enemies, and if this ghost can help us end the war faster and with fewer casualties on both sides." "I know," Aaron sighed. "It's just, I'm a scientist, an engineer. I never thought I'd be making decisions that could shape the future of our entire species and others." "For what it's worth, I think you're doing a damn good job," Prescott said, clapping him on the shoulder. "The crew trusts you. I trust you. You'll make the right call." Aaron gave her a grateful smile as she headed off to check on the ship's departments. He turned back to the viewport, watching the stars and turning over her words and his own doubts. A chime from his wrist communicator pulled him out of his reverie. "Captain, to the bridge!" came the voice of his comm officer. "We're approaching the coordinates." "On my way," Aaron replied, squaring his shoulders and striding off towards the bridge. It was time to meet this mysterious ghost and see if they could truly be trusted. As he stepped onto the bridge, the view screen showed a small, nondescript freighter waiting at the designated coordinates. Aaron took his seat in the command chair, feeling the eyes of his bridge crew on him. "Hail them!" he ordered, watching as the comm officer opened a channel. The view screen flickered, resolving into the image of a cloaked and hooded figure. "Captain Walker," the figure said, voice distorted by some sort of modulator. "I am the one they call the Ghost. I have been waiting for you." Aaron leaned forward in his chair, meeting the figure's shadowed gaze. "I received your message. You said you have intelligence that can help us, but first, I need to know why you reached out to us. Why betray your own people?" The Ghost let out a harsh bark of laughter. "My people? The Deltan ruling class stopped being my people when they turned our once peaceful civilization into a ruthless, conquering empire. When they began subjugating and enslaving other races in the name of Deltan supremacy. No, Captain. I am loyal to the true Deltan people, not the twisted regime that Xanth has created." Aaron considered this, watching the figure closely. "And what exactly are you offering us?" "I am offering you the key to bringing down Xanth and his warmongering government," the Ghost replied. "I am offering you the locations of key military installations, lines of supply, communication hubs. I am offering you the secret codes that will allow you to infiltrate and disrupt their systems. And, when the time is right, I am offering you the support of a network of rebel cells on the Deltan homeworld and other core worlds who will rise up and help you remove Xanth from power and replace him with a new government, one that will end this destructive conflict and work towards peace with Earth and other civilizations." Aaron sat back, mind racing as he considered the implications. With this kind of insider knowledge and support, they could cripple the Deltan war machine and perhaps end this conflict far sooner than he had dared hope. But it would also mean becoming directly involved in another civilization's political upheaval. He glanced around at his bridge crew. They all met his gaze steadily, trust and willpower in their eyes. They would follow him, he knew, no matter what he decided. He turned back to the view screen. "I will need to discuss this with my superiors on Earth, but provisionally, we have an agreement." The Ghost inclined their head. "I look forward to working together, Captain Walker, for the future of both our peoples." The view screen blinked out, returning to an image of the stars. Aaron let out a long breath, feeling the weight of the future pressing down on him. The path ahead was murky and uncertain, fraught with difficult choices and moral quandaries. But with the help of the Ghost and his crew, perhaps they could forge a way through to a brighter tomorrow. Only time would tell. The USS Blackstar dropped out of null space at the secret coordinates, its hull gleaming in the light of an unfamiliar star. On the bridge, Aaron Walker watched the view screen intently as a small, nondescript freighter came into view. "Hail them," Aaron ordered, his voice tight with tension. Moments later, they were docking with the mysterious vessel. Aaron led a small security team aboard, his hand resting on his sidearm as they made their way to the ship's cramped meeting room. The door slid open, revealing a hooded figure. "Captain Walker," the figure said, reaching up to lower his hood. "I am Zoltar, the one you know as the Ghost." Aaron's eyes widened as he took in the Deltan's features. "You're one of them?" Zoltar nodded grimly. "I was once an advisor to Emperor Xanth himself, but I could no longer stand by as he twisted our once great civilization into an engine of conquest and oppression." Over the next hour, Zoltar laid out the situation. He described a secret research facility where the Deltans were developing a terrifying new superweapon. "If Xanth completes this weapon, no world will be safe," Zoltar warned. "It must be destroyed." Aaron paced the small room, wrestling with the decision. Could he trust this Deltan defector? But the intelligence was too vital to ignore. "All right," Aaron said finally. "We'll do it, but if this is a trap—" Zoltar met his gaze evenly. "I assure you, Captain, our goals are aligned. The facility is located on Deltara 4. I can provide you with the security codes to bypass the outer defenses." Back aboard the Blackstar, Aaron assembled his strike team. This will be a covert operation, he told them. We go in fast, plant the charges, and get out. Any questions? Commander Jack Thompson spoke up. Sir, what if we encounter heavy resistance? Aaron's expression hardened. Then we fight our way through. Failure is not an option. Minutes later, Aaron, Jack, and Lieutenant Chen materialized on the surface of Deltara 4, a barren world of red rock and howling winds. In the distance loomed a massive structure, the secret research facility. They made their way inside using Zoltar's codes, encountering no resistance at first. But as they neared the central lab, alarms began to blare. "We've been made!" Jack shouted, opening fire on a squad of Deltan guards rounding the corner. The team fought their way through, leaving a trail of stunned and unconscious Deltans in their wake. Finally, they reached the central lab, a cavernous space dominated by a colossal quantum computer. "My God," Chen breathed, taking in the sight. "If this thing goes online—" "Then make sure it doesn't," Aaron ordered. "Plant the virus. Jack and I will hold them off." Chen set to work, his fingers flying over his datapad as he attempted to hack the Deltan systems. Aaron and Jack took up defensive positions, trading fire with waves of Deltan security forces. Suddenly a new figure strode into the lab, flanked by black-armored elite guards. Aaron's blood ran cold as he recognized Emperor Xanth himself. "You dare?" Xanth roared, drawing an energy blade. "I will end you myself, human!" Aaron raised his own weapon, but Xanth was faster. The Deltan Emperor knocked the gun from Aaron's hand and tackled him to the ground. They grappled fiercely, trading blows as chaos erupted around them. Just as Xanth pinned Aaron, preparing to deliver a killing blow, Chen's voice rang out. "It's done! The virus is uploaded!" The quantum computer began to spark and smoke. Alarms wailed as the facility's systems went haywire. Xanth's eyes widened in shock and fury. "Blackstar now!" Aaron shouted into his comm unit. In a flash of light, Aaron and his team vanished, rematerializing aboard their ship just as the Deltan facility erupted in a massive fireball. As the Blackstar sped away from Deltara 4, Aaron received a transmission from Zoltar. "You've dealt a crippling blow to Xanth's war machine," the Deltan said, "but I fear this is only the beginning. Xanth will not take this defeat lightly." Aaron nodded grimly. "Then we'd better be ready for whatever comes next." Aaron paced the bridge of the USS Blackstar, his eyes fixed on the holographic display of Deltra Prime. The Deltan homeworld loomed before them, a glittering jewel of advanced technology and formidable defenses. "Stealth systems at maximum," reported Commander Prescott. "We're invisible to their sensors." Aaron nodded, his eyes sharp. "Take us in, nice and slow. We can't afford to trip any alarms." The Blackstar glided silently through space, slipping past orbital defense platforms and patrolling warships. As they entered weapons range, Aaron gave the order. "Weapons free. Target military installations and shipyards only." The ship's quantum cannons flared to life, lancing out with surgical precision. On the planet's surface, explosions blossomed as key facilities were reduced to rubble. Alarms blared across the bridge. "Multiple contacts incoming!" shouted the tactical officer. "Looks like the entire Deltan home fleet." Hundreds of enemy ships swarmed towards them, weapons blazing. The Blackstar rocked under the barrage. "Evasive maneuvers," Aaron ordered. "Pattern Delta 3. The massive ship jinked and wove through space, its advanced inertial dampeners allowing it to pull off moves that would have torn apart lesser vessels. Aaron coordinated their attacks, unleashing volleys of quantum torpedoes that shattered Deltan cruisers. "Sir, incoming transmission from the surface," called out the comms officer. "It's Zoltar!" The Deltan resistance leader's face appeared on screen, his expression fierce. "Now is our moment, Captain Walker. Xanth's forces are in disarray. We're moving on the Imperial Palace, but we need your help to breach its defenses." Aaron's mind raced, weighing the risks. With a nod, he made his choice. "Helm, take us down. We're going in hot." The Blackstar plunged into Deltra Prime's atmosphere, anti-aircraft fire exploding around them. Buildings and vehicles below grew larger as they descended towards the sprawling capital. Providing air support for Zoltar's forces, Aaron commanded. Clear a path to that palace. Precise blasts from the ship's weapons vaporized Deltan tanks and artillery positions. On the ground, resistance fighters surged forward. Transporter room, prepare for immediate deployment, Aaron said, rising from his chair. I'm leading the strike team myself. Minutes later, Aaron materialized inside the palace grounds with an elite squad. The opulent corridors were a war zone, resistance troops trading fire with Xanth's guards. They fought their way deeper, leaving a trail of stunned and fallen Deltans in their wake. Aaron's breath came in ragged gasps as they neared the throne room. The massive doors burst open. There stood Emperor Xanth himself, resplendent in gleaming armor and wielding an energy blade that crackled with power. You dare invade my sanctum, human? Xanth roared. Aaron raised his own weapon, but Xanth was faster. The Deltan's blade sliced through the air, nearly taking off Aaron's head. They clashed again and again, Aaron barely holding his own against the Emperor's fury. You think you've won? Xanth snarled between blows. I'll see this world burn before I let it fall to you. A sick realization dawned on Aaron. You've armed a doomsday device, he said. Xanth's manic grin was all the confirmation he needed. With renewed desperation, Aaron pressed his attack. Their duel raged across the throne room, neither able to gain the upper hand. Finally, Aaron saw an opening. He feinted left, then struck hard to the right. Xanth's blade went flying, and the Emperor fell. It's over, Aaron panted. But Xanth laughed, blood trickling from his mouth. For all of us, he said, revealing a detonator in his hand. Aaron's eyes widened. He dove for the device, wresting it from Xanth's grasp. But it was too late. The countdown had begun. Chen, Aaron shouted into his comm. I need you here now. We've got to stop this thing. The lieutenant appeared moments later, already pulling out his tools. Together they raced to disarm the doomsday device as the seconds ticked away. Sweat poured down Aaron's face as Chen worked furiously to overload the quantum matrix. The floor beneath them began to shake. Done! Chen yelled, just as the device powered down. The shaking intensified. They had stopped the detonation, but the planet's core was destabilized. Resistance troops burst into the room, quickly subduing the wounded Xanth. Aaron's comm crackled to life with urgent evacuation orders. As they raced from the crumbling palace, Aaron caught Zoltar's eye. The Deltan resistance leader nodded grimly. We'll build something better from the ashes, he vowed. The Blackstar's transporters snatched them away just as the ground began to split open beneath their feet. The USS Blackstar dropped out of warp, the planet Kryler looming large on the monitor. Aaron Walker stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back as he surveyed the scene below. Tactical analysis, he ordered. Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew across his console. Multiple hotspots of insurgent activity detected in the capital city, sir. The warlord's forces are converging on the central government district. Aaron nodded grimly. Prepare ground teams for immediate deployment. We need to secure that district before it falls. Minutes later, Aaron led the first wave of troops from the transporter room. They materialized in the heart of Krylor's capital, a sprawling metropolis of towering spires and elevated walkways. The sound of weapons fire echoed through the streets. Move out, Aaron shouted, leading his squad towards the government plaza. They sprinted down debris-strewn avenues, taking cover behind overturned vehicles as insurgent snipers opened fire from the rooftops. Aaron tapped his comm badge. Walker to Blackstar. We need air support on those buildings now. The response came swiftly. Precision strikes from the ship's phasers lanced down, vaporizing the sniper nests in bursts of superheated plasma. As they neared the plaza, they encountered heavier resistance. A squad of insurgents had set up a fortified position, laying down a punishing barrage with heavy weapons. Chen, Thompson, circle left, Aaron ordered. The rest of you, with me. They split up, flanking the enemy position. Aaron's team provided covering fire while Chen and Thompson maneuvered into position. At Aaron's signal, they struck from both sides simultaneously, catching the insurgents in a devastating crossfire. The battle raged for hours as Aaron coordinated with both his ground forces and the Blackstar overhead. Street by street, building by building, they pushed the warlord's forces back. Finally, as the twin suns of Kryler began to set, Aaron stood in the government plaza. The last pockets of resistance had been crushed. Around him, the pro-democracy fighters of Kryler cheered, embracing their human saviors. But even as he accepted their gratitude, Aaron felt unease gnawing at him. This was only the beginning. Across the galaxy, 100 worlds like Kryler teetered on the brink of chaos, and not everyone would welcome Earth's intervention with open arms. His comm badge chirped. "Captain," came Commander Prescott's voice, "we're receiving an urgent transmission from Earth. The Admiralty wants to speak with you immediately." Aaron sighed, already anticipating the political minefield that awaited him. "Understood. I'm on my way." As he beamed back to the Blackstar, leaving the liberated citizens of Kryler behind, Aaron knew that the true test of his leadership was only just beginning. The fate of the galactic realm hung in the balance, and he would have to navigate a path between ideology and pragmatism, between force and diplomacy. The real work of building a lasting peace had only just begun. Aaron Walker stood on the bridge of the USS Blackstar, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. The holographic map showed a dozen systems spread across the galaxy, each marked with a pulsing red icon indicating a Basilisk cartel stronghold. "All strike teams report ready, sir," Lieutenant Chen announced from his station. Aaron nodded, his teeth gritted. "Initiate Operation Hydra. All units, commence attack." The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as orders were relayed and data streams flooded in from across the galaxy. Aaron watched as friendly blue icons began to engage the red cartel positions. "Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission from Admiral Zhao," the communications officer called out. Aaron turned to face the main view screen as the Admiral's stern visage appeared. "Captain Walker, I hope you know what you're doing. This strategy of yours is unprecedented. It's our best chance to cripple the cartel before they can unleash that bioweapon, sir," Aaron replied. Zhao's expression remained grave. "I pray you're right. Good hunting, Captain." As the transmission ended, Aaron's attention snapped back to the tactical display. "Status report on Alpha Team." Commander Thompson's voice crackled over the comm. "We've breached the outer defenses of the cartel base on Rigel 7, sir, encountering heavy resistance." The sounds of weapons fire and shouted orders filled the bridge as Aaron listened to the chaotic assault. "Push forward, Commander. We need to secure that command center." Suddenly, alarms blared across the Blackstar. "Multiple hostile contacts emerging from hyperspace," Chen shouted. "It's a cartel fleet." Aaron's mind raced as he assessed the new threat. "Evasive maneuvers. Bring us about to heading 047 Mark III. Ready quantum torpedoes." The massive ship pivoted gracefully, its advanced systems allowing it to dance between enemy fire. Aaron barked orders as the Blackstar unleashed a devastating counterattack, its weapons tearing through the smaller cartel vessels. "Sir, Beta Team reports success on Altair 4, Chen called out. "They've captured the cartel's regional commander." A cheer went up from the bridge crew, but Aaron remained focused. "Excellent. Have them secure any intel they can find on the bioweapon program." The battle raged for hours as Aaron coordinated strikes across multiple systems. Reports flooded in. Victories, setbacks, heavy casualties. Each loss weighed on him, but he pushed aside the guilt. There would be time for mourning later. "Gamma Team is pinned down on Nueva Madrid," Thompson's voice cut through the chaos. "Requesting immediate reinforcements." Aaron's hands tightened on the command chair. "Negative, Commander. We don't have the resources. They'll have to hold out." "But, sir—" "I know, Thompson." Aaron cut him off, his voice tight. "But if we divert forces now, we risk losing everything. Stay on mission." As the grueling campaign stretched on, Aaron felt the weight of command pressing down on him. The fate of countless worlds hung in the balance, dependent on his ability to outmaneuver a ruthless enemy. "Captain," Chen's voice broke through his thoughts, We're detecting a massive energy surge at the cartel facility on Demeter 3rd. Sir, I think it's the bioweapon. Aaron's blood ran cold. He had pushed his forces to the limit, striking hard and fast across the galaxy. But had it been enough? As alarms blared and his crew looked to him for guidance, Aaron knew the next few moments would determine the fate of billions. Billions of lives across the galaxy. His fingers flew across the tactical console, inputting commands with lightning speed. All strike teams, this is Captain Walker. We've identified the source of the energy surge on Demeter the 3rd. It's not the bioweapon, it's a decoy. I repeat, Demeter 3rd is a decoy. Aaron's eyes narrowed as he studied the holographic display. The real threat is on Helveron. Blackstar, set course for the rogue planet, maximum warp. As the ship streaked through space, Aaron briefed his senior staff. Intel suggests the cartel's main bioweapons lab is hidden beneath the surface of Helveron. We'll use the Blackstar's experimental teleportation tech to bypass their outer defenses. Commander Thompson nodded grimly. Sir, that's never been tested at planetary range. The risks are less than the cost of failure, Aaron cut in. Gear up, we move in 5. Minutes later, Aaron stood in the transporter room with Thompson and an elite strike team. Energy crackled around them as they dematerialized. They rematerialized in a sterile white corridor. Alarms blared instantly. Aaron's team took cover as cartel guards rounded the corner, plasma bolts sizzling past. Push forward! Aaron shouted, returning fire. His phaser beam caught a guard in the chest, dropping him. They fought their way through winding passages, leaving a trail of stunned and fallen cartel operatives. Aaron's breath came in ragged gasps as they neared the main lab. The massive doors hissed open. Inside, rows of stasis tubes lined the walls, each filled with a sickly green liquid. Scientists in hazmat suits scrambled for cover. Chen, Aaron barked into his comm, we're in, start the hack. As Chen worked remotely to access the lab's systems, Aaron's team secured the perimeter. A scientist lunged for a control panel. Thompson's phaser blast stopped him cold. Sir! Chen's voice crackled. I've breached their firewalls, but the facility's going into lockdown. Automated venting sequence initiated. Aaron cursed. Toxic gas began to seep from hidden vents. Everyone out, now! They retreated, sealing bulkheads behind them. Aaron's mind raced. They couldn't let the bioweapon escape. Blackstar, this is Walker. Prepare to fire cyclonic torpedoes on my mark. Captain, his XO protested. Those are experimental. Do it, Aaron ordered. They sprinted for the extraction point, cartel reinforcements hot on their heels. Plasma bolts struck 2 of Aaron's team, their screams cut short. Energize! Aaron shouted as they reached the designated coordinates. As they rematerialized on the Blackstar, Aaron staggered to the weapons console. Fire cyclonic torpedoes, full spread. The ship shuddered as it unleashed its payload. On the monitor, a contained singularity bloomed on Helveron's surface, consuming the entire facility. Aaron sagged against the console, the adrenaline fading. The bioweapon threat was neutralized, but at a terrible cost. He looked around the bridge, seeing the toll of their victories etched on every face. Send word to our allies, he said quietly. Tell them it's time we discuss the future. Days later, Aaron stood before a gathering of leaders from a dozen worlds. Some faces were familiar from past liberations, others wary and untrusting. The Basilisk cartel has been dealt a crippling blow, Aaron began. But our work is just getting started. We have a chance now, perhaps our only chance, to forge a lasting alliance. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. A Rigelian diplomat spoke up. And why should we trust Earth to lead this alliance? Your ships have brought both liberation and destruction to our worlds. Aaron nodded solemnly. You're right to be cautious. That's why I'm not proposing Earth's leadership. I'm proposing a true coalition, with equal representation from all member worlds. He outlined his vision, a united fleet, drawing strength from the unique capabilities of each species. But more than that, an academy to train the next generation of defenders. "We'll teach combat tactics, yes," Aaron said, his voice rising with passion. "But also diplomacy, ethics, the complexities of a multi-species galaxy. We have a chance to break the cycle of violence and build something greater." As the summit wore on, Aaron saw the seeds of his vision taking root. There were heated debates and setbacks, but slowly, a framework for cooperation emerged. Late one night, Aaron stood alone on the Blackstar's observation deck, gazing out at the stars. The door hissed open behind him. "Quite a view," a gravelly voice said. Aaron turned to see the Andorian ambassador, Thrav, approach. "I've been thinking about what you said," Thrav continued, "about breaking cycles. It won't be easy." Aaron nodded. "The hardest part is still to come, but I believe—" A proximity alarm cut him off. On the display, a massive ship decloaked, the cartel's mobile command station. "All hands, battle stations!" Aaron barked, racing for the bridge. The real test of their fledgling alliance was about to begin. The cartel command ship loomed before them, a behemoth of dark metal overflowing with weapons. Aaron's fingers flew across the tactical console, issuing rapid-fire orders to the assembled fleet. "All ships assume attack pattern Delta. Concentrate fire on their primary shield generators." The bridge of the Blackstar hummed with tense energy as the crew sprang into action. Through the view screen, Aaron watched Allied vessels move into formation, sleek Andorian fighters, bulky Tellarite cruisers, and more. A year ago, such cooperation would have been unthinkable. As the battle raged, Aaron's mind raced. This skirmish was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead. Weeks later, Aaron stood before the assembled leaders of a dozen worlds in the Blackstar's conference room. The air thrummed with a mixture of hope and suspicion. "The cartel's defeat gives us a unique opportunity," Aaron began, his voice steady. "But lasting peace requires more than victory in battle. It demands unity." He activated a holographic display, showcasing schematics for an integrated fleet. "I propose we combine our strengths. A joint armada, with the Blackstar at its core, ready to respond to threats across all our territories." Murmurs rippled through the room. The Regelian ambassador leaned forward, mandibles clicking. "And who would command this force, Captain Walker? You?" Aaron met the alien's gaze. "If you'll have me. But ultimate authority would rest with a council representing all member worlds." Hours of debate followed. Aaron fielded questions, addressing concerns over sovereignty and command structure. Slowly, he saw grit harden in the eyes of key leaders. The Andorian Thrav spoke up. "My people have long stood apart, but recent events have shown the cost of isolation. Andoria commits its fastest ships and best pilots to this alliance." One by one, other representatives voiced their support. As the meeting adjourned, Aaron felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The first step was taken. In the weeks that followed, the Blackstar became a hive of activity. Crews from a dozen worlds arrived, bringing with them ships of all shapes and sizes. Aaron worked tirelessly, overseeing integration efforts and training exercises. On the Blackstar's hangar deck, he watched a team of human and Tellarite engineers collaborating on upgrades to a squadron of fighters. Nearby, a Vulcan tactical officer led a briefing for a mixed group of security personnel. "Impressive progress," Commander Thompson remarked, joining Aaron, "but we're not without growing pains." Aaron nodded grimly. Just yesterday, a brawl had broken out between Andorian and Regelian crew members over some perceived slight. "Cultural integration will take time. We need to—" An urgent comm signal cut him off. "Captain Walker, priority message from Altair system." Minutes later, Aaron stared at the tactical display, eyes sharp. A rogue cartel faction had launched a coup attempt, seizing key facilities across multiple Altair colonies. "Deploy rapid response team," Aaron ordered. "Commander Thompson, you'll lead the ground assault. I want our full combined fleet ready to move in 6 hours." The next days were a blur of coordinated strikes and fierce firefights. From the Blackstar's bridge, Aaron directed the space battle while Thompson led multinational strike teams to retake Altair's surface. The true test came during the assault on the cartel's fortified command center. Aaron watched the tactical feed as Thompson's forces, a mix of human, Andorian, and Rigelian troops, advanced under heavy fire. "Bravo team, push up the left flank." Thompson's voice crackled over the comm. "Shran, I need suppressing fire on that bunker." Aaron held his breath as he watched the diverse squad move with practiced precision. Moments later, Thompson's voice rang out again. "Command center secured. Altair is ours." A cheer went up across the bridge. Aaron allowed himself a small smile. This victory wasn't just about defeating the cartel. It was proof that their fledgling alliance could work. In the following months, the United Armada struck hard and fast against pirate bases and warlords across multiple systems. Each successful operation built confidence and camaraderie among the coalition forces. After a particularly daring raid that crippled a slaver ring, Aaron found himself in the Blackstar's mess hall. He paused, taking in the sight before him. Crew members from a dozen worlds sat together, sharing meals and swapping stories. A Tellarite engineer was regaling a group with a bawdy tale, while nearby, a human security officer and Andorian pilot competed in some incomprehensible game involving small metal discs. Aaron felt a surge of pride. This was what he had fought for, a true galactic community. His comm badge chirped, interrupting his reverie. "Captain, we're receiving reports of unrest on Proxima 3, some kind of anti-alien demonstration." Aaron's brow furrowed as he hurried to the bridge. The protests on Proxima were just the beginning. Over the next weeks, similar incidents flared up across multiple worlds. Reports flooded in of attacks on alien embassies, assaults on non-human citizens. A disturbing pattern emerged, a coordinated campaign of xenophobic violence and propaganda. In his ready room, Aaron pored over intelligence briefings. The so-called Free Worlds movement was gaining traction, playing on old fears and prejudices. A chime at the door interrupted his thoughts. "Enter!" he called out. Thrav stepped inside, his antennae twitching with agitation. "Captain, we have a problem. My sources indicate that Free World sympathizers have infiltrated key positions in several planetary defense forces. If we don't act soon..." Aaron nodded grimly. "I know. We're at a tipping point, old friend. Everything we've built is at risk." He stood, gazing out at the stars. The challenges ahead were daunting, but Aaron knew one thing for certain. He wouldn't face them alone. The strength of their alliance lay in its diversity. Now, more than ever, they would need to stand united against the forces threatening to tear them apart. Aaron's fist slammed against the tactical display, scattering holographic data across the Blackstar's bridge. "Damn it! How deep does this infection run?" He scanned the latest intelligence reports, his fists tight. The Free Worlds movement had spread further than anyone realized, their xenophobic ideology taking root in the darkest corners of the Allied fleet. "Captain," his Andorian tactical officer Shran spoke up. "We've confirmed Free Worlds sympathizers in key positions across 3 sectors." Aaron nodded grimly. "Then we have no choice. Summon the War Council." Hours later, the Blackstar's conference room buzzed with tension. Regional commanders and security chiefs from a dozen worlds crowded around the table, their faces etched with concern. "We stand at the precipice," Aaron began, his voice cutting through the murmurs. "The Free Worlds movement threatens everything we've built. We must act now, decisively, or watch our alliance crumble." He activated a holographic display, showcasing known Free Worlds strongholds across multiple systems. "We'll launch simultaneous strikes against these targets, surgical, precise, before they can coordinate their forces." A Rigelian admiral leaned forward, mandibles clicking. "And if our own crews are compromised?" "Then we root them out," Aaron said firmly. "Every ship, every outpost. We can't afford half measures." As the council debated strategy, Aaron's comm badge chirped. "Walker here." "Captain," Chen's voice crackled with urgency. "Priority transmission from Antares. You need to see this." Aaron's blood ran cold as he watched the footage. The Free World's radicals had seized control of an entire battle group, their renegade ships now broadcasting inflammatory propaganda across subspace. He turned to the assembled leaders, his eyes hard. Antares has fallen. I'm taking the Blackstar to retake the system. Who's with me? A chorus of affirmatives rang out. As the council dispersed to prepare their forces, Aaron strode onto the bridge. Set course for Antares. Maximum warp. The Blackstar shot through space, leading a strike force of elite Allied ships. As they dropped out of warp, chaos erupted. Renegade vessels opened fire, filling the void with searing energy blasts. Evasive maneuvers, Aaron barked. Target their weapons arrays. I want precision strikes, not vaporized ships. Those crews may still be loyal. The space battle raged, a furious dance of light and destruction. Aaron's fingers flew across the tactical console, coordinating the Allied assault. Suddenly, proximity alarms blared. Sir! Shran shouted. Multiple boarding parties detected! Aaron's lips curled into a grim smile. Right on schedule. Let them come. The sounds of battle echoed through the Blackstar's corridors as Aaron's elite marine detachments engaged the intruders. Phaser fire and the dull thud of hand-to-hand combat filled the air. Aaron led a squad through the engineering deck, his weapon raised. They rounded a corner to find a group of Free World's boarders trying to sabotage the warp core. Drop your weapons, Aaron commanded. The boarders spun, eyes wide with surprise. For a moment, the air crackled with tension. Then all hell broke loose. Aaron dove for cover as energy bolts scorched the bulkhead. He returned fire, his shots precise and devastating. Within moments, the intruders lay stunned or incapacitated. Similar scenes played out across the ship as the Blackstar's crew systematically neutralized the boarding parties. Meanwhile, Allied forces hammered the Antares battle station from orbit, its defenses crumbling under the relentless assault. Aaron tapped his comm badge. Walker to Thompson. Status report. Heavy resistance, sir. Thompson's voice came back, punctuated by weapons fire. These bastards are dug in deep, but we're making progress. Keep pushing, Aaron ordered. I'm heading for the command center. Moments later, Aaron materialized inside the battle station's heart. Smoke filled the air. Consoles sparked and sputtered. At the center of it all stood Admiral Drell, the architect of this mutiny. It's over, Drell, Aaron said, his voice steady. Stand down. Don't make this worse than it already is. Drell sneered, his face twisted with hate. Worse? You're the one who made this necessary, Walker. Humans lording over the galaxy, playing peacekeeper. It's time we took back what's ours. Aaron's eyes narrowed. Is that what you think this is? Some crusade for human supremacy? Wake up, Drell. We just fought a war to end that kind of thinking. The Deltan Empire is gone. We have a chance at real peace, real cooperation. Cooperation, Drell spat. You mean subservience? I won't let alien filth. Aaron's patience snapped. He lunged forward, catching Drell off guard. The two men grappled fiercely, crashing into consoles and debris. Drell fought with the desperation of a cornered animal, but Aaron's training and commitment proved too much. With a final decisive move, Aaron pinned Drell to the ground. It's finished, he growled. Call off your forces, now. Defeated, Drell gave the order. Across the Antares system, Free World ships powered down weapons and signaled their surrender. In the aftermath, Aaron stood before a galaxy-wide broadcast, his uniform still bearing the scars of battle. Today, we faced a threat not from without, but from within, he began. The Free Worlds movement sought to divide us, to reignite the flames of hatred and fear. Xenophobia. But we overcame it together. We proved that our strength lies in our unity, in our diversity. As Aaron's words echoed across subspace, a new threat lurked at the edges of known space. On the bridge of the Blackstar, alarms blared. Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew across his console, eyes wide with disbelief. Captain, long-range sensors detecting something. I've never seen readings like this. Aaron leaned over Chen's shoulder, studying the data. Magnify Sector 7 Alpha. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a massive vessel of alien design. Its hull shimmered with an otherworldly energy, defying conventional sensors. By the stars, Thrav whispered, antennae twitching. What is that? Before anyone could respond, more ships appeared. Dozens, hundreds, an armada of unimaginable scale and technological sophistication. All hands, battle stations, Aaron ordered, his voice steady despite the ice in his veins. Chen, get me Alliance Command, now. Days later, Aaron stood before a hastily convened emergency summit. The chamber buzzed with fear and speculation as representatives from every allied world crowded around holographic displays of the alien fleet. Dr. Shinley, head of Xenotechnology Research, stepped forward. We've analyzed the data from our long-range scans and recovered artifacts. She paused, swallowing hard. This species, which calls itself the Zilrak, possesses technology far beyond our own. But that's not the worst of it. She tapped her datapad, projecting images of devastated worlds. Everywhere they go, they leave only ash and rubble. No survivors, no negotiations. They are cosmic exterminators. The chamber erupted in panic. Aaron's voice cut through the chaos. We didn't come this far to roll over and die. We'll fight. We'll find a way. In the weeks that followed, Aaron threw himself into the war effort. He oversaw the evacuation of frontier colonies, the bolstering of planetary defenses. On the Blackstar's bridge, he pored over tactical simulations, searching for any weakness in the Zilrak's seemingly impenetrable defenses. Sir, Commander Thompson reported, the prototype plasma cannons are ready for field testing. Aaron nodded grimly. Let's hope they're enough. Helm, set course for the Arcturus system. We're going hunting. The Blackstar led a battle group of the Alliance's most advanced ships. As they dropped out of warp, a lone Zilrak vessel loomed before them. All ships fire at will, Aaron commanded. Lances of superheated plasma streaked across space. They slammed into the Zilrak ship, momentarily overwhelming its shields. But as the smoke cleared, the alien vessel remained largely intact. Evasive maneuvers! Aaron shouted as the Zilrak returned fire. Reality itself seemed to warp around their weapons. Allied ships exploded left and right. The Blackstar shuddered under the assault, consoles sparking and crew members crying out in pain. Engines to emergency power, Aaron ordered. Get us out of here! As they limped back to friendly space, Aaron surveyed the damage. Half his battle group destroyed, hundreds dead, and they'd barely scratched the enemy. In the aftermath, voices of dissent grew louder. We can't win this fight, a Tellarite ambassador bellowed during a strategy session. We should sue for peace while we still can. Aaron thumped his hand on the table. And what kind of peace do you think they'll offer? Total extermination is their goal. We fight or we die. There is no middle ground. Late one night, as Aaron studied reports in his ready room, Dr. Lee burst in. Captain, I think I've found something. A weapon that could turn the tide. She laid out her plans, harnessing the power of white holes, cosmic phenomena of unimaginable energy. It's risky, she admitted. The destructive potential is, well, beyond anything we've ever conceived. Aaron stared at the schematics, the weight of countless lives heavy on his shoulders. Do it, he said quietly. Whatever it takes. As construction began on the massive white hole array, the Zilrak pressed their advance. System after system fell silent. The Alliance's territory shrank by the day. Standing on the bridge of the Blackstar, Aaron watched the enemy armada approach on long-range sensors. This was it, their last stand. All hands, he announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the ship. You all knew the risks when you signed on, but I want you to know, I couldn't be prouder of this crew, of this alliance. Whatever happens next, we face it together. The Zilrak ships filled the view screen, a wall of alien metal stretching as far as the eye could see. At the center of their formation loomed their flagship, a behemoth that dwarfed even the largest alliance vessels. Target the array, Aaron ordered, his voice steady. Fire. A beam of pure white light lanced out from the hastily constructed weapon. It struck the Zilrak flagship dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then reality itself began to tear. A vortex of unimaginable energy erupted from the point of impact. Zilrak ships vanished by the dozens, consumed by the growing singularity. But the rift kept expanding. Alarms blared across the Blackstar as sensors went haywire. "Sir," Chen shouted, "the singularity? It's unstable. At this rate, it'll consume everything." Aaron's mind raced. There was only one way to stop this, one final sacrifice. "All hands, abandon ship," he ordered. As the crew scrambled to the escape pods, Aaron plotted a course, straight into the heart of the singularity. "Computer, initiate self-destruct sequence. Authorization, Walker Alpha 1. As the Blackstar plunged towards oblivion, Aaron closed his eyes. He thought of Earth, of the countless worlds and species he'd sworn to protect, of the future he'd fought so hard to secure. "It was worth it," he whispered. The Blackstar's warp core detonated, the explosion interacting with the singularity in ways no one could have predicted. The rift collapsed in on itself, taking the remains of the Zilrak fleet with it. In the void left behind, the surviving Alliance ships regrouped. They stared in awe at the empty space where their enemies had been, and where their greatest hero had made his final stand.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.